What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about a subject that is very dear to my heart, Star Wars. More specifically, we're going to talk about Jon Favreu, which is the guy in charge of The Mandalorian. Also along with Dave Filoni. But there's an article on Screen Rant that says Star Wars creatives must listen to the fans, says Mandalorian creator, and they are talking about Jon Favreu. And to be honest with you, the only hope I have for the future of Star Wars is the fact that people like Jon Favreu is very influential at LucasFilm, because to be quite honest, after the sequel trilogy, it was just a huge letdown for a Star Wars fan like myself, you know? And one of the things that articles such as Screen Rant and any other like medias out there, they were vilifying the fans after the criticism following The Last Jedi. And one of the things that I can't fathom is the fact that, you know, just because the critics like it, and obviously we know the critics want to be in a good side of Disney, so who knows if their reviews were even, like, if you can really consider that review, to be honest, because the majority of the fans did not like the movie. You can see the Rotten Tomatoes score, and not, if you don't believe in Rotten Tomatoes, you check other places where people score the movie really low. Like, it's probably the most controversial of the sequel trilogy, and in my opinion it happened mostly because it was the thing that destroyed the sequel trilogy. There was no return from there, and I was one of those people that were actually in favor of the sequel trilogy. I mean, I loved Force Awakens. I was one of those people that said, okay, I don't like everything here, but I understand they want to work with nostalgia and we're gonna get something great after. But it didn't really go that way. And you know, if you've been here on my channel, you'll probably see how many videos I've made complaining about The Last Jedi. I could probably make another 100 complaining about the stuff that I didn't like. And after that, I couldn't even enjoy Rise of Skywalker either. I thought it was even, I mean, I didn't think it was worse, but I thought it was, I mean, I just thought it was terrible. The movie was a mess. Long story short, the media has been vilifying Star Wars fans that has been criticizing the sequel trilogy with false accusations such as, oh, people don't like that there is a girl that is the lead. People are misogynist. They don't like the diversity. People didn't like Rose Tico. Oh my God, you're so this and that. Which in fact, they were missing the point that it's not the diverse characters or the female lead, it's the story that didn't work. You know, we have plenty of great female stories out there and diverse characters that worked. People have to understand, especially these creators, that when you come to a franchise that has been established for 40 years, you have to stick to the formula. You have to respect the original characters and their lineage and all of that. You have to understand people are so fascinated with this universe. They know so many things about the Force, all these ships, all of that. You can't just ignore that and expect it to work. You know, the problem nowadays is that we have a lot of lazy writing. You know, I have said that, and I will say it again, I have never been against diverse characters or any of that. That should be embedded in the story, and it should feel organic. It should not just be there to prove a point. That's not how it works. The first thing you should worry about is the storytelling. Is it compelling? Are people going to like this character? Are you actually honoring this diverse character? Or are you making him a buffoon? There's so many things that is just, like, to me is baffling. And I was even more irritated with the media just calling out the fans, you know, making this into, also became political as well. And I couldn't care less about politics. You know, I just want a good story. And to me, the Lucasfilm did not give me that. You know, I did not have a good experience watching the sequel trilogy. And by the way, I say that all the time, and I'll say it again, this is not an attack of those who like the sequel trilogy. I don't care, good for you. But my opinion is that I didn't like it. I think it's actually dishonored the Skywalker lineage. To me, I don't consider it canon. However, the story changed for me with The Mandalorian, right? The Mandalorian was a show that the critics and the fans liked it. So why can't Lucasfilm look at this and see, so what did we do wrong? What went wrong on a sequel trilogy that we did right here? What? Well, could it be because it's actually respecting the mythology of Star Wars, because it's actually taking place in that same universe, and it's not only using token characters to just pretend you care for a diverse world. No, it's actually giving you those feelings. It is actually giving you, like, you're engaging with this character. You care about Mando, you care about Baby Yoda, you care, like, there's just so many things that they did right in that show. It's fantastic, and it's just so short. So to me, it's very baffling that they would not understand that, but Jon Favreau gives me hope because he gets it. You know, he understands that listening to the fans are your audience. Those are the people buying your product. Those are the people spending tons of money in merchandise and all of that. Why would you not want to please them? However, he's very smart. Like, we're going to have a look at this article over here, and one of the things that he says is that one thing is you listening to the fans and giving them what they want, but not let the story just be a fan service, for instance. That's not what the fans are asking. I mean, it's great to have some fan service here and there, that's fine, but that should not be the way to drive the story. On that point, I agree with the creators, but that does not mean you completely disrespect what came before, or you just, because it's a make-believe world, you can just do whatever you want. And not long ago, we look back at the High Republic, the new story that Lucasfilm was working on, and they wrote on their board dinosaurs. They wrote the Force all the way down the board, and they put diversity and all these other things all the way high up, when it should be like, you should think about the main plot and main force and how compelling these characters are going to be, and then you add your diverse characters there. Like, that should not drive the story, but people are just this world, I just don't get it. I just don't understand. But anyways, this is what Jon Favreu said. So speaking to the Hollywood Reporter about the process of creating The Mandalorian, the Iron Man, the Jungle Book filmmaker emphasizes how creatives need to listen to what the viewers are saying about their projects. And I 100% agree. I go to film school myself, and one of the things that you need to learn, you need to understand why people did not connect to your film, or did not understand it, or did not like it. You need to understand, unless you're doing a niche project, you need to agree that Star Wars was supposed to be for all ages. It's not, I mean, mainly kids, right? I don't disagree with that, but also adults and every people generation. I mean, there was a reason why it lasted so long. Why do you think it captivated my dad, and then he passed it on to me and my brothers, and I'll potentially pass it on to my next generation? That's how Star Wars is supposed to work. But to me, Star Wars ended with George Lucas, because I can't accept what they did in the new movies. You know, they dare to call this the Skywalker saga, and the end of the story is with a Palpatine calling themselves Skywalker. I mean, I don't care you're calling yourself Skywalker. The Skywalkers are no more. You know, I was so pissed off that they killed Kylo Ren, you know, because he was the last Skywalker. Like him or hate him, he was the last Skywalker. Without him, there is no Skywalker. I don't care if I'm calling myself a Skywalker. It doesn't work that way. I didn't like that storyline. I just don't even want to remember those films, to be honest. And it's kind of sad, because, you know, for a Star Wars fan, you want to watch these movies, you want to engage with them, you want to have fun with them. And I go back and I watch George Lucas films, you know, the Star Wars, and I'm deeply moved, you know. When I remember watching Revenge of the Sith, when it gets to Anakin Falls, it breaks my heart. The story, I'm so into the characters. I feel so bad for everybody. But at the same time, I have hope, because I remember Luke is going to redeem Anakin Skywalker. You know, he was the chosen one. And then we get to the sequel trilogy. Anakin Skywalker is not even mentioned. He was the chosen one, and that is not even mentioned because he's a guy. So that is my problem over there, you know. And then, obviously, my biggest problem with this whole Lucasfilm is that, of course, I love female-led stories, but I hate when they don't do female stories right. That was Rey. just because she's a female does not mean that she needs to know it all. She has no flaws. That is just going to make a character very unlikable. That's not how you write character. Even if it was a guy, it would have been the same, you know? How you look back and you see Luke struggling to lift a few rocks, and then on the second movie, you know, or the first movie, the second movie, right? Rey is lifting a whole mountain of rocks without with very little training, and your explanation is a Palpatine. It doesn't matter who you are. You still need to learn the Force, either dark or bright side or the light side. You still need to learn it. It's not a magical trick. George Lucas said that many times, and that's what pisses me off. These little details were lost, and that is because the people in charge of these films, they were fans. Yes, they put a lot of fan stuff in there, but they didn't really understand the story. Also, they did not listen to George Lucas. But Jon Favreu says over here, Favreu explains that it's not a one-way street. Studio people should be attuned to what people want and don't want. And then he said, and I quote, "You put something out in the world and then it echoes back at you. You have to listen. It's not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. You have to feel the energy of the audience." But when you come from comedy, and when I was doing prov in Chicago, that's it. You have to read the room. You have to feel the room. You have to be in community with the audience. You have to be part of it. And then going down, it continues by saying that doesn't mean that projects should be solely dictated by fan pressure. Otherwise, most movies and TV shows would feel like fan-made content, which isn't good as well. And I agree, and I believe that was what Rise of Skywalker became. A lot of like pressure from the fans because they didn't like the movie before. So they kind of did jabs at The Last Jedi, which I enjoyed. But at the same time, it's still not ended in a high note, you know. It just became all messy. It has to be Rey needs to defeat Palpatine. If they had at least brought Anakin there, I could have tried to give it a pass, but not even that. You just have his voice. Oh, do something, defeat him like I did, bring balance to the Force like I did once. I don't care about that. I'm pissed that not even Kylo Ren is there to help her. She has to do it all on her own, and then she dies. I hate this movie so much. This sequel trilogy is trash, and it's so upsetting. I get worked out just thinking about it. And then he continues, what Favreu means is that creatives should know their target market, and with the rise of social media, it's not difficult to crack this down since everyone is expressing their thoughts on their chosen platforms. From there, they should take it into consideration when crafting their stories, but not purely base their decisions on them. For instance, Favreu knew that there is an interesting Boba Fett as well as the Mandalorians, considering how integral they've been in animated shows and Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, but instead of doing a straight-up adaptation, they changed things up with introduction of a new character and the addition of Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian. So this is the formula that made The Mandalorian work. So they got something that is part of Star Wars and they did not destroy it. They actually expanded in a very interesting way. And that is basically what people were expecting of these new films, you know. I would rather have had the story start 1,000 years in the future and be about a new generation than bringing all of these characters back and just destroying them one by one, not even giving them a reunion, not one scene of them together. Not only that, right, because that would be fan service, but not only that, you also kind of like destroy every single accomplishment that these characters made. You know, Han Solo goes back to being a smuggler again, even though he had already progressed. His arc was almost complete when by the time we said goodbye to Han, and now he is back. He left Leia. He's like that's what this story is supposed to be. Not only that, right? Then we have floating Leia in space. Then we have purple hair. You know, that dislikable character. Then we have a Rose Tico storyline that doesn't make zero sense when we actually want to see what's up with Luke Skywalker. There's just so many things that went wrong in those movies. I don't even like to think about it. And then, damn, how can they not see this stuff? But no, oh, it's all because people are misogynist. It's all because, no, it's because these people that made this film do not know how to write these stories, you know? There's nothing worse than create a female-led film on a major franchise and freaking destroy the character, not even know how to write a female story, you know? The fact that they did Rey a Mary Sue did not help the case. People do not connect to this kind of characters. And please do not tell me people don't like female leads. Tons of other content have proven otherwise. You know, people loved Leia. We could not, maybe she wasn't a female lead, but she was written well. Leia had all the characteristics of a strong female that did not need to be persuaded by a guy, but knew how to work together. She did not hate men. I just don't understand this theory that you need to hate men because all men are evil, or you have to do everything on your own. You don't need help of anyone. We are social beings. We need help on every single step of our lives. We can't do life alone, you know? Maybe I would like to think I could, but that's not reality. In the reality, you need mentors, you need teachers. I mean, think back on your high school, like who are the biggest influences in your life? Things do not work like that. And when they want to write stuff like this in films and force it to an audience and people reject it, they get mad at the audience. And that's what we had. We had so many media calling names and all of this stuff, and Lucasfilm said nothing. You know, they never said, oh, we understand the fans or any. No, in fact, they who knows, maybe they were behind these articles. But my point here is that I am happy that Jon Favreu thinks differently, you know. Let's see what else the article is saying. It's curious what Favreu and his teams take away from the first season of The Mandalorian and how those pointers will affect the show's second season. I mean, we all know it was extremely successful. Hopefully they won't destroy it. Hopefully they won't be forcing stuff out there. Just learn how to write stories. That's all we ask. Just respect Star Wars, because for me, The Mandalorian is the only Star Wars content I'm actually interested in now. You know, I don't look at the sequel trilogy as canon for me. I don't care what people say, but it's just not for me. You know, it does not belong into the Skywalker saga. I just hate those films. The more I think about them, the more I have gripes with them. But I do respect Jon Favreu, and I really wish that, you know, what he's saying here, it becomes true on The Mandalorian season 2. But anyways, guys, don't want to make this video too long. This came off a little bit, it was like a rant. But yes, when I do get talking about things that I really love, it kind of pisses me off that it always, when it's hijacked by these big companies, okay, and they want to take a chance on something different, and I'm not against that, it's fine. But then when the audience does not like their product, the audience is the villain, because, oh, how dare you, we are the artists, just you have to take whatever we give you. It doesn't really work like that, especially with something that has been around for 40 years. It doesn't work like that. Not to mention that not long ago we heard that even George Lucas himself was upset with Lucasfilm, with Bob Iger, because they shake hands on an idea and they went the capitalistic way, right? No, we're gonna do something that we make sure that makes money, everyone is gonna love it. And then we had The Force Awakens. Like I said, I was one of those fans that I was super excited The Force Awakens, but when it came to The Last Jedi, I'm out. But anyways, guys, that is the news regarding Jon Favreu. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think about all of this. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.